I'm inside and I saw Bone Tomahawk. It is written and directed by S. Craig Zahler, and if you haven't seen this movie, I will spoil it for you. This movie starts with we're following two dudes, and they unknowingly stumble across an Indian burial ground with like a bunch of bones and such, and their immediate reaction is to just keep on going forward. I'm like, I wouldn't do that. Oh, I just casually come across a random cemetery. Oh, let me just accidentally knock over one of the cemetery shrines that has like a skeleton on it, especially this guy's skull. I wouldn't do that at all. These two dudes are so stupid. One is just kind of going around, one is just going straight through. And guess what? The one who goes straight through is dead. He gets yoinked by these Indians, and these Indians are very brutal. And not to mention that one of them was able to survive, but he stole one of the heads. And I'm like, why would you do this? That's just a bad omen. Why would you want this head so badly? Let me just sell this skeleton head skull for, I don't know, $20. I'll need it in the future. And I'm like, no, I don't necessarily think you should have stolen this head. But of course, this guy goes, does a lot of traveling, ends up at this lovely little town where we meet the rest of our protagonists. We have the marshal, and then we got this guy just chilling. He broke his leg recently. And then you got the wife, and the wife is one of those doctor things. They can do doctor things in jail. So she's called over, hey, we got this guy, he's looking suspicious, we arrested him, and let me just ask you to come tend to him because he has a bullet wound. And she's like, okay, cool. And then guess what? When the guy wakes up, the husband wakes up, she's not there, and so isn't who was in the jail. So someone took them. And so it's like, okay, obviously someone got really angry enough to kidnap these people. And so I'm thinking, oh geez, well, how are they gonna get them back? I'm thinking the husband is just in such terrible shape. He really should have listened to his wife during the storm, like, hey, you shouldn't really necessarily be walking around in the storm fixing things. You can slip. And guess what? That's what happened. He slipped, fell, and broke his ankle or shin. I'm not exactly sure where it is exactly, but it's not convenient, and especially when it's not convenient when he wants to go along for the ride. And the sheriff's like, no, you have to stay here. And he's like, no, I'm going to go on a ride with you. I might trail, but I'm going. And I like this about this character because even though it's just so much easier for him to just sit there and worry, he would rather look for the wife himself. And I really appreciate this, and I'm lucky that the wife has such a good guy for a husband who really truly cares about her. So there's that. But also there's like practical stuff like, yeah, you're kind of injured, dude. And this is a 3 to 5 day walk, and we're currently going at like a 5-day pace, okay? We gotta like move on. We gotta keep on going. We gotta go. And I'm like, oh boy. So during the entirety of the journey, since they first start on horseback, right? And this seems to be a nice, comfortable jaunt, and there's no seeming danger around until it's night. And then we got these two people just want to come up to the campsite unannounced. Luckily, there's like traps set to the side, so someone was notified. They were notified. Who is there? And they're like, oh, we're just here to have a nice little safe time. We're here to tell you good old fun facts. Bam, bam, shot dead. Why did you shoot him? Because you got the marshal, you got the guy who really wants to have sex with that guy's wife and actually brought her to the jail the day of the kidnapping, so he feels very responsible and must go with them to retrieve her. So we got that, we got the husband, and then we got the marshal. We got the marshal's assistant, like the deputy, I think. I'm not very good at titles, but you know, there's a 4 of them. Basically, the husband has to trail back, and it takes him a little bit of a while to catch up to them. But also what's fun is going back to at night, they have to leave the base that they're at. They find a place an hour up ahead, and then the guy who brought the wife to the jail that night. Gets stabbed. I'm like, oh my goodness. This movie's violence is very sudden and brutal when it happens. The best way to describe it is it's a buildup of tension and tension and tension, building up as the characters, the character relationships, kind of building up the character dynamics, right? And then it builds up the tension and tension and tension. Oh, there's some outside forces we gotta worry about, okay? How about we just focus on that? And then tension, attention, and then release. Oh man, we're safe. We traveled about an hour north or whatever, and we're safe. Nope, tension building in. Bam! Looks like there's more people coming after them, so they have to travel more. Not to mention that they stole their horses and now they have to travel on foot, and so this guy has to travel on foot, and he ends up straggling behind. Everybody else is also traveling on foot. What's nice is that the older guy, who's kind of an assistant there, he is carrying the husband's stuff, which I find to be very admirable. What's fun though is that they're walking through and they're walking through and they're walking through and they're walking through. Then we're just at the property of the Indians, and I'm like, oh, this is actually quicker than I thought it would be, because there's so many things that they had to deal with while walking, and now that they're here and they're just like sneaking around caves, like, ooh, we gotta look. Oh man, they're not here. Okay. Oh, we're in a more open field. Let's just have a little bit more defenseless conversation. Oh my goodness. And then immediately a bunch of arrows, shoo shoo, axe, shoo, gets that guy's hand chopped off, shoom. Just so much stuff just starts happening pretty much immediately. This is like start of the third act. I'm like, oh my goodness. So they found where the Indians are at. How are they gonna get inside? Okay, we found a way to kill them, found a way to get inside. Oh no, we didn't actually. No. They actually get dragged inside and they have to find ways to kill them. They kill a couple of Indians, but that guy who led the wife to the jail that night, that dude, he was like, yeah, I've killed like 116 Indians, dude. I want to get at least a couple more in before I die, because he's bleeding out and he wants to stay there. And then I think he might have killed one more Indian, but he didn't like kill them all and blow them up like he wanted to. It was honestly a really sad situation. So they're now in the Indian lair, and I say it's a lair. It looks like a cave system. They eat people. They like chop people directly down the middle. Chop with an axe, and then all their guts just spill inside. And I thought that was crazy. I was like, what are they doing here? How are they going to deal with this? Oh, they're smarter. Okay, how are they going to get out of this situation? Got a whiskey, put some stuff in there. Oh, we're going to have a tasty whiskey. Yum, yum, yum. They have a little bit of a drink of it, and then they throw the whiskey flask into the fire, and then some of them die, and then some of them realize, and they like torture the sheriff man for it. I'm like, no! Oh, you guys are so close to getting them all killed. You might think, oh man, things suck. How are they gonna get out of the situation? Well, luckily, the husband is there to just crawl his way up to where they led a nice little trail of rocks to where the position is. And he encounters Indians one by one. He's able to shoot them down one by one, gradually getting their tribe a little bit smaller and smaller, until he crawls his way into the nice little cave that they have. And there's a couple of Indians in there, and they have to have a little bit of a shootout. But you know, what's fun is that the marshal's there. He's like, I'm gonna actually blow up this place. I'm gonna blow it up. You guys get out of here. Just leave. And then they leave, and then they leave, and then they leave. And guess who actually remains? It's the wife, it's the husband, and the old deputy that is alive at the end. And then you just hear an explosion, and then they just walk home, and that's the end of the movie. And I really like this movie a lot. I said a lot of details about it because I like the way that it is. I really like the character building. I like the character back and forth between the characters. It makes a lot of good character development that way. A lot of good world building too. Also, these Indians were pretty terrifying. They're cannibal guys, and anyone who eats people is not okay in my book. And so it makes them even more terrifying, and definitely like a more clean-cut evil that I'm rooting for these heroes to stop. And the movie doesn't really end until they're all dead. And I really like that, because it's like, oh, thank goodness. They can just have a nice, happy, merry little life now, which is very beautiful, very heartwarming. I don't know, I just had my eyes glued to the screen the entire time, and I was really enthralled with this. I really enjoyed this movie a lot. What do you think of Bone Tomahawk? I would describe it, it's a roller coaster. You kind of got like those slow ramp ups and then a bunch of loop-de-loops just suddenly and randomly, and then you're on the loop-de-loop train. And then once you're done with all those loop-de-loops, then you're kind of like on the same thing, and then the same thing happens over and over. And then the end of the movie is just a nice gentle ramp down after a ton of loop-de-loops, is how I describe this movie in reference to a roller coaster. So I really like this movie a lot. What do you think of this movie? Let me know in the comments below. I gotta give this movie, it's a solid like 7.8 out of 10. If you like this review, watch another one the platform really likes that. If you want a fast track movie review, you can do that for $20 Dito. At patreon.com/ASEPresents. And if you like to help support the daily grindiness of all them daily movie reviews, go to this link tree, find the way you can help support the daily grind of all them daily movie reviews, so you can go here. And until next time on Mint Salad Saw, I'll send you to my sour croutons and bacon bits. Yay-ha!